Okay, so you know how we used to plan trips, like way back when, flipping through those glossy brochures or calling up a travel agent.
Right.
Yeah, but now it's like a whole different ballgame.
Oh, absolutely. A whole different universe.
It really is.
Ah.
A million online options. Technology changing faster than you can say passport.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up feels like a trip in itself.
Seriously. The travel landscape has just exploded. It's gotten so complex. And for anyone trying to, really understand it, knowing what drives traveler decisions is just so important. I mean, it's more crucial now than ever before.
And that is exactly why we're here today doing a deep dive into the Travel Dreams Report.
Yeah.
From Amadeus Hospitality.
Right.
And this is not just some fluffy, what we think kind of report.
Yeah.
This is based on hard data. They actually went out and surveyed a massive 6,000 travelers.
Wow.
Yeah. And not just in one place. They covered 6 key global markets: the U.S., China, Germany, the U.K., France, and India.
Okay, so a real global perspective.
Exactly. All within 2024.
But they didn't stop there.
No, they also talked to the people actually doing the work, the experts across the travel industry.
So we're getting both sides, the traveler and the industry.
Absolutely. So we've got this rich picture of what's happening in travel right now. And our mission today is to break down this report, pull out those key insights, those nuggets of gold.
Yeah, give us the takeaway.
Exactly. So you can walk away understanding not just what travelers want, but how technology is shaping those experiences. From, that initial spark of inspiration to that final, I'm home feeling.
And the report is smartly structured. It breaks the journey down into stages.
Right.
Yeah. So that's how we'll tackle it too. Inspiration, booking, what happens on the trip, and then those post-trip reflections and future dreams.
Perfect roadmap.
Okay.
So let's jump right into that first stage, inspiration. What gets those travel juices flowing?
Yeah.
Well, the report says the top driver, and this is pretty consistent across the board, is stunning landscapes and natural beauty.
No surprise there.
I know, right? But the numbers are crazy. 60% of leisure travelers said that's their biggest inspiration.
60%. That's huge. What's interesting is, you think it'd just be the older generations, but it's actually across all generations. Yeah, from Gen Z, the youngest, all the way to the silent generation. A significant chunk of them are like, give me those mountains, give me those beaches, give me that nature.
It's like a universal language.
It is. It is. And even for business travelers, when they think about adding some leisure to their trip, about half of them are inspired by that same, natural beauty.
So if you're out there trying to attract travelers, showcasing that breathtaking scenery, that's key.
It's a must.
Yeah. Now, the report also shows some interesting shifts in how people are finding inspiration. Some of those traditional methods, they're losing steam.
Like what?
Well, things like newspaper ads and articles.
Yeah.
They've seen a pretty big drop in the last 5 years, down from 26% to 18%.
Makes sense, I guess, with everything going digital.
Right. And even those physical travel agents, while they're still around, their influence has also decreased.
Oh, interesting. From 25% down to 19%?
Exactly. But as those channels fade, others are really taking off.
Right.
Well, the digital world is where it's at. So social media, adverts and posts on those platforms have gone way up as a source of inspiration, from 23% to a whopping 33%.
Wow.
And travel influencers, those folks who are out there experiencing and sharing, their influence has also climbed a lot, from 20% to 29%.
Yeah, and that makes sense, doesn't it? People trust those authentic voices, those personal stories.
Right. They see someone doing it, living it, and they're like, I want a piece of that.
Exactly. And this trend, it's even more pronounced with the younger traveler.
Right. Gen Z, they practically live online.
They do. The report says almost half of them get their travel ideas from social media.
Wow.
And over 40% are swayed by those travel influencers. Even celebrities hold some weight for a quarter of them.
Really?
Yeah, much more so than older demographics.
It's like a whole different world. And we actually got some really interesting insights from some folks in the hotel world about this very thing. Samantha Lee from Lexus Hotels told us they're putting a huge chunk of their marketing budget, like 80% of it, into digital advertising.
80%. That's serious commitment.
It is. And they're really smart about it. They're collaborating with travel influencers. They even give them specific codes to track bookings that come directly from their audience.
Oh, so they can measure the actual impact.
Exactly. Super smart.
It is.
And then we heard from Maren Dragon from Fleming's Hotels, and she really emphasized this need for a mix of approaches, not put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
But she said social media and influencer collaborations are absolutely essential parts of a comprehensive marketing strategy.
Yeah, if you want to reach those travelers, you got to be where they are.
Exactly. Now, when it comes to the type of content that really makes people go, I got to book that trip, it probably won't surprise you that visuals are king.
Makes sense, right? Beautiful pictures, engaging videos.
Exactly. The report found that those high-quality visuals, showcasing stunning scenery and local attractions, get 64% of travelers really excited.
Yeah, but there is a slight difference in what appeals to like business versus leisure travelers.
Okay.
Yeah, both love the
Mm.
visuals, of course. But business travelers, they're actually a bit more into those personal stories or reviews from other travelers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, 57% of them said that compared to 49% of leisure travelers. It's like they're looking for that extra bit of reassurance, that validation from someone who's actually been there.
Yeah, that makes sense, right. If you're only squeezing in like a day or two around work, you want to make sure you're not wasting any time.
Exactly.
That's solid recommendation. And speaking of checking things out in advance, the report highlighted this growing desire for virtual tours.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, a solid 70% of all travelers said they'd love to be able to virtually explore a destination before actually going there.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and for business travelers, that number jumps even higher, up to 82%.
Oh, wow.
But even for leisure travelers, it's still really strong at 66%.
Yeah, so it's not just a business thing.
No, not at all. And then you look at markets like India and China, where the interest is even higher, 86% and 85% respectively.
So there's a real global appetite for this.
Absolutely. And Lexus Hotels is really ahead of the curve on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've found their VR tours are a big hit, especially with the ICE market. That's the meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions crowd.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and also for guests with specific needs, they can really see if the property will work for them before they book.
It makes sense. No surprises.
Exactly. They see it as a win-win.
Yeah, for everyone involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But moving on from the pretty picture part, the report also highlights something that's become even more important in recent years: safety.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is. Over the past 5 years, the number of travelers who said safety is a top priority when choosing a destination, that's jumped from 51% to 58%.
So it's definitely on people's minds.
Absolutely. And leisure travelers, they actually prioritize safety even a bit more than business travelers.
Really?
Yeah, 59% of them see it as critical compared to 56% of those traveling for business.
I guess it makes sense. Business travelers are probably more used to, different environments.
Maybe. But of course, value for money and culturally interesting destinations, those are still really important, 56% and 40% respectively.
So it's a balance, right? You want that exciting experience, but you want it to be safe and affordable too.
Exactly. Oh, there's some really interesting regional differences too. Travelers from the U.S. are much more likely to be visiting friends and family compared to, say, Chinese travelers.
Not much more likely.
Well, 45% of U.S. travelers versus only 15% of Chinese travelers.
That's a big gap.
It is. It really shows how different cultures, approach travel.
It does. So just to sum up this inspiration phase, it seems travelers are drawn to beauty.
Those stunning landscapes.
Yeah, but they're increasingly turning to digital platforms.
To those online influencers, those amazing photos and videos.
Exactly. And being able to virtually experience a place, that's becoming key.
It's like a test drive.
It is. And underlying it all, a growing need to feel safe.
Safety first.
Oh.
Okay, let's move on to the next step, the booking process.
All right.
So once travelers have that dream destination in mind, what are their top priorities when it comes to actually booking their hotel?
Well, the number one priority for almost half of all travelers is price and value for money.
Makes sense.
It does. That comes in at 49%. But this is even more important for leisure travelers.
Okay.
Yeah, 55% of them put it at the top of their list. For business travelers, price is still important, but things like flexible room rental and having a good business center or workspace matter more.
Yeah, they got work to do.
Right, they need those facilities.
It's interesting to see how differently people value loyalty points, too.
Oh, yeah.
Business travelers are way more into them. 13% of them consider them a priority compared to only 7% of leisure travelers.
I guess they rack up those points much faster.
Yep. Exactly. Another big thing during booking is sustainability.
Ah, becoming more and more important.
It is. While it's still a relatively small factor overall, like 9%, it's notably higher for business travelers.
Okay.
Yeah, 13% of them. And travelers from China and India, they're really leading the pack on considering a hotel's sustainability practices.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's encouraging. Of course, those more traditional factors, they still matter a lot too.
Like,
Location. That's huge for 40% of travelers, but especially for British travelers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 55% of them. Reviews and ratings, amenities like pools and gyms, and the brand reputation, those are all important for about a quarter of those surveyed.
So it's a mix, right? The
Eh,
basics, the values, the extras.
totally. Now, where are people actually making these bookings?
Right.
Well, online travel agencies, the OTAs, they're still the dominant force.
No surprise there.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Both leisure and business travelers, 41% of them prefer to book through OTAs. Direct hotel websites come in second at 21%. And then retail travel agents, they're still holding on at 17%.
They're not going down without a fight.
They're not. And they're especially popular with boomers and in France.
Interesting.
Yeah. But why do people choose a particular booking channel?
Good question.
It boils down to ease of use.
Yeah.
47% of travelers just go with whatever's the easiest and fastest.
Convenience is king.
It really is.
Well,
Of course, getting the best price, that's a major motivator too. That came in at 42%.
it's a balancing act, right? Convenience and cost.
Absolutely. Now, here's a key insight for any hotels listening.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Okay, so 98%, a huge chunk of travelers, said they're more likely to book if they're offered free amenities.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Breakfast is the most popular, but things like free Wi-Fi, pool access, airport shuttles, those can really sway a decision.
Those little perks can make a big difference.
They really can. But it's not just about the free stuff. People are also willing to pay extra for specific amenities they really value.
Like what?
Well, things like a guaranteed room with a view, premium in-room entertainment packages, or deals that include local attractions.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
On average, they said they'd spend about 12% more than the average daily rate for those kinds of extras.
Wow.
And the report actually crunched the numbers and estimated that this willingness to pay could mean an extra US $5,383 per room per year for a typical mid-sized hotel chain.
That's a lot of money.
It is. And for business travelers, 14% of them would even pay up to 20% more for business-related services.
So there's a real opportunity there to like really tailor the experience.
There is. And we actually spoke to Linda Gorani at Marcus Hotels, and she's definitely seeing strong interest in these add-on attributes and services.
Okay.
Yeah, things like access to executive lounges or being able to check in early, especially around big events. And Amy Isabel Williams from Geronimo Hospitality Group, they're even exploring these really innovative mini bars.
What do you mean?
Well, things like self-care items or even a curated menu of other personalized options for guests.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just your typical like chips and soda.
No, not at all. It's about really catering to individual needs. Now, beyond hotels, the report also looked at car rentals and travel insurance.
Okay, so how are people booking those?
Well, for car rentals, nearly three-quarters of travelers have added one to their trip at some point. And booking directly with the rental company is still the most popular way to snag a good deal. But a good chunk, like 27%, said they'd be open to booking it as part of their hotel reservation.
So there's potential for bundling those services.
Absolutely. And with travel insurance, booking directly with those trusted brands or using online comparison sites, those are the top choices. British travelers, they're much more likely to always buy travel insurance.
They are. They're big on that peace of mind.
They are. And the biggest reason people buy insurance, it's that safety net for potential health emergencies.
Makes sense. Those can be really costly.
They can. Okay, now here's something really key for anyone in the travel business.
Okay, hit me with it.
Personalization.
Mhm.
The report found that over half of all guests, and even more business travelers, they're willing to share some personal data if it means getting personalized deals and offers. And a good chunk are open to sharing data for lower prices.
So it's a trade-off they're willing to make.
It is. Younger travelers and those in China and India, they're the most comfortable with this whole data sharing thing.
Yeah, they're more digitally savvy.
Exactly. And Karen Gilbertson from Code Hospitality, she shared how they use pre-arrival emails and their mobile app to let guests really customize their stay, book activities, based on their preferences.
So it's about giving them control.
It is. So to wrap up this booking stage, it's really this dynamic mix of factors. Price and value are huge, but people are also thinking about sustainability, and they're definitely open to paying extra for those personalized touches.
And OTAs are still the go-to, but there's this willingness to share data for a more tailored experience.
Exactly. A huge opportunity for travel providers.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the on-trip experience.
Okay, so what happens once they arrive?
Well, the report shows some really interesting preferences, especially around check-in.
Okay, so like that first impression at the hotel.
Exactly. And here's where we see a real split between leisure and business travelers. almost half of those leisure guests, they still prefer a traditional check-in. A desk, a staff member to greet them.
That personal touch.
Exactly. And boomers, they're even more into that human interaction. It's interesting, though, only a small percentage actually want a completely contactless check-in.
So even with all the technology, people still value that human connection.
They do. Now, on the flip side, business travelers, they're all about speed and efficiency.
Yeah, time is money for them.
It is. The majority prefer online or self-service check-in. It's like, get me in, get me settled.
Makes sense.
It does. We talked to Maddie Bauman from Head Companies about this.
Oh, yeah.
And she really emphasized how important their front desk staff is, especially for those leisure guests, in creating that warm, welcoming atmosphere.
Yeah, especially in smaller markets where word of mouth is so powerful.
Exactly. But they also recognize they need those seamless digital options for business travelers.
It's about catering to both.
It is. Now, once travelers are settled in, technology plays a big role in their experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, travelers, especially those on business, they're really excited about innovations that can make their trips smoother.
Like what?
Well, top of the list is seamless travel logistics.
What does that mean?
Well, things like automatic updates on flight delays or being able to track your luggage in real time.
Oh, okay, that would be great.
I know, right? Also, smart room controls, those interactive tour apps that give you local insights, and AI-powered virtual assistants that can answer questions and, even fulfill requests.
Wow, so technology is really taking center stage.
It is. And from a sustainability perspective, tools that let travelers track and minimize their environmental impact, those are getting popular too.
That's good to see, especially with younger travelers.
Exactly. Now, the report also highlighted this really important but often overlooked issue, travel insurance.
Yeah, people don't always think about that.
They don't. But the report found that the average financial loss for travelers who didn't have insurance and ran into problems was a whopping US $12,210.
That's a lot of money.
It is. And for leisure travelers, it's even higher, nearly $1,500.
Ouch.
Yeah. And get this, 6% of travelers reported losing over $2,500.
Because they didn't have insurance.
Yep. So we talked to Soraya 8 Uwara from AXA Partners about this, and she pointed out that people in different markets, like the U.S., China, and France, have different levels of awareness and attitudes towards travel insurance.
Yeah, which influences whether they buy it or not.
Exactly. So the takeaway is know your coverage and don't underestimate the potential costs of not having insurance.
Good advice.
Now let's circle back to sustainability.
Okay.
The report found a big increase in people wanting electric or hybrid car options for rentals. That preference has really gone up in the last 5 years,
Makes sense.
especially with Gen Z and in the Chinese market. And at the same time, people are less interested in traditional gas guzzlers.
Yeah, so the shift is happening.
It is. We actually spoke to Paul Westgate from Europcar about this, and he said they're really committed to sustainability.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got these carbon reduction programs, and they're trying to add more electric vehicles to their fleets.
That's great.
It is. But he did point out some real-world challenges.
Like?
Well, things like not enough charging stations. It's going to take a bigger effort to really make it work.
That's a whole infrastructure issue.
It is. Okay, last thing for this on-trip phase. The report looked at what information travelers are looking for.
Okay, so what do they want to know?
Well, before they even arrive, they want to know about the best places to eat, the best ways to get around, safety tips for the area, and any hidden gems.
So they want to be in the know.
They do. And once they're there, they're all about finding public transport and local cultural experiences.
So they want the inside scoop.
Exactly. And Maria Eugenia Oriana Ucros from ProColombia, she talked about how they use data from Amadeus to understand where travelers are coming from and to improve flight connections.
Oh, so it's smoother for the travelers.
Exactly. So this on-trip phase, it's about that warm welcome for leisure guests, embracing tech for efficiency, knowing the risks of not having insurance, and making sustainable choices, all while seeking out the best info to really maximize their experience.
Okay, so we've gone from inspiration to booking to being on the trip.
Now let's look at those post-trip reflections.
And what makes someone come back?
Exactly. What makes a traveler say, I'm booking that again? Well, no surprise, value for money is at the top of the list.
It makes sense.
It does. 61% overall, 65% for leisure travelers. But cleanliness and great customer service, those are right up there too.
Those are the essentials.
They are. Now, business travelers, they have some extra priority.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, things like being able to get into the room quickly, personalize offers during their stay, and those loyalty points.
So it's about recognition and efficiency.
It is. We talked to Alexander Jovanovic from Trans Resort Bali,
Yeah.
and he talked about how they get a lot of repeat leisure guests by focusing on personalization. Yeah, they analyze their hotel's identity and make sure everything, their marketing, their service, their technology, all aligns with what their guests want.
So it's a holistic approach.
It is. Now, looking ahead, what do travelers want for their future hotel experiences? Well, leisure guests want even more personalized service, and both leisure and business travelers are really interested in enhanced wellness offerings.
So it's about taking care of the whole person.
Exactly. But there are some interesting differences in what they prioritize. Business travelers are more into that high-tech stuff, like AI-driven personalization, a big focus on sustainability, and even paying with cryptocurrency or digital wallets.
So it's about staying ahead of the curve.
It is. Now, given all the hype around AI, the report looked at how open travelers are to it.
I'm curious.
Well, the findings were pretty amazing. Most travelers are totally open to using AI to help plan their trip. Very few are distrustful, especially younger travelers and those in China.
So they're embracing it.
They are. They want AI to help them find great restaurants, suggest new destinations, assist with booking, even discover entertainment options.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like having a super smart travel assistant in your pocket.
That's the future.
It is. Now let's talk about car rentals again. The report dug into what makes people switch providers.
Okay.
Well, unexpected charges, too much paperwork, not being able to pick up or drop off the car where they want, and getting a different car than they booked. Those are the big ones.
So it's about transparency and flexibility.
Exactly. And interestingly, not enough sustainable car options and a lack of charging info for electric vehicles, those are becoming bigger concerns too.
Especially for business travelers.
Yeah, they're leading the charge on that. So to improve things, travelers want a super easy booking process, real-time info on what's available, easy data sharing to manage any disruptions, AI-powered recommendations for the right vehicle, and even virtual tours of the cars.
So it's about making it as seamless as possible.
It is. And finally, travel insurance. Travelers want it to be fast, efficient, and easy. 24/7 emergency assistance, instant compensation for baggage issues, automatic reimbursements for cancellations or delays, and faster claim processing. That's what they're looking for.
So it's about taking the hassle out of a stressful situation.
Exactly. So this post-trip reflection stage, it reinforces those core values. Value, cleanliness, great service. But it also highlights the specific needs of business travelers, the growing acceptance of AI, the frustrations with car rentals, and that desire for simplicity and speed when it comes to insurance.
Yeah, so many things to think about.
There are. As we wrap up this deep dive into the Amadeus report, it's so clear that what travelers want is evolving across the globe.
It's a dynamic landscape.
It is. And it's important to remember all these insights, they come from that huge survey of 6,000 travelers in 6 key markets in late 2024, plus all those expert interviews.
Yeah, really comprehensive view.
It is. So here's a final thought for you, our listener. Given all these desires for personalization, seamless technology, and sustainability, what truly groundbreaking solutions might we see in the travel industry in the years to come? Solutions that not only meet but exceed expectations and build that lasting loyalty.
It's something to ponder for sure.
It is. Think about it in your own travels and maybe even in your work. Who knows what the future holds?
Yeah, who knows?
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the future of travel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more insights and updates. Visit Tourism, Capturing the Scene of Knowledge, a comprehensive website delivering the latest travel trends and innovations. Accelerate your mastery of the tourism industry, all in one place. Navigate through a vast showcase of comprehensive business-oriented tourism content, 99% pure industry intelligence, and 1% academic, curated for discerning professionals. Why subscribe to Tourism? Capturing the Scene of Knowledge. Make informed decisions. Instantly access key reports and insights from top sources across the tourism industry. No research required. All in one place. Why split your attention? A single subscription gives you easy access to thousands of reports, videos, and infographics just as effortlessly as watching a 30-second ad. Save time with curated searches. Time is money. Let our subscription save you both by delivering valuable insights directly without the endless search. Until next time, happy travels.